All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Underground Crypto. Just running in at the last second. Just about to go live and turn on the camera. Realize I don't have nothing to drink. I tell you, it is a long 2 hours with nothing to drink, guys. All right, but we're ready to go. Let's make it so you can see what I see. There we are at the 4-hour BTC chart. Let me turn it on so you can see me. Hey, there we go. Let's go take a look. Well, we did lose the 4-hour 200, and we haven't regained it. Obviously, we lost it a little while ago. Every one of these is 4 hours here. And we'll keep switching our trend lines, our divergence lines, until I guess there is no more divergence. I'm thinking we're probably going to get a bounce at least back up to the 200, which is the red line, 200-day moving average. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, please throw something in the chat. Let me know. Shout out to the chat. Hey, Gig Gaming TV, welcome in, welcome in. We're going to be comparing tonight Richard Heart to Charles, Mr. Hosky, right? The founder of Cardano. Looks like Kumar said hello, sir. Hello to you. Thank you for coming back to the stream. Melissa, of course. Raw Handyman, Digital Revolution. Welcome in, welcome in. All right, so what do we want to talk about here? One, to me, it looks like a lot, like a complex shoulder, head, shoulder, and you really should have got a big dump out of that, and you didn't. So when those head and shoulder patterns, complex head and shoulder patterns start not giving you the dump that you're looking for, that's something to look for as far as a change in sentiment here. Look at this thing before it fell out. Where's my line? There it is. You know, before it fell out there, that's a pretty bearish pattern there, and it did exactly what it was supposed to do. So we're just hanging out, we're just watching. We always start show with this. How are all my undergrounders? Anybody watching the eclipse? I have no idea when an eclipse is supposed to happen, you know? Needed that. Welcome in, welcome in. Smash that like button for me if you're just coming in. We're just kicking off. You haven't missed nothing yet. And let's do the introduction to this stream. So Monday we examined why Richard Heart remained so controversial. Tuesday we tested his claim that HEX is better than Bitcoin and discovered that a product can outperform in one category without replacing everything its competitor does. Tonight we move from the claims to the builders. Richard Heart and Charles Hoskinson. I don't know. I've never had trouble saying that, but of course now I'm live on YouTube. I will. So Richard and Charles, right, are two of the crypto's most outspoken founders, but they represent very different ways of building an ecosystem. Where Richard Hart's approach emphasizes finished products, immutable contracts, Ethereum virtual machine compatibility, rapid execution, aggressive marketing, and tightly unified community. Charles, on the other hand, his approach emphasizes academic research, formal engineering, a staged roadmap, multiple development organizations, and increasingly formal on-chain governance. This is not based on a personal feud between the two men, and I'm not trying to make it like this is the next UFC fight. It is an editorial comparison between the two founder models just for us in this community. We're asking deeper questions than which founder is more likable on social media. Which ecosystem is better prepared to operate, develop, and grow without its founder controlling every major decision? The Lucas won. Since we got an early all-time high, maybe we got an early bottom too. Very possible. And if you know we got an early all-time high, then you've been paying attention this whole time. I love to see that. So the current ecosystem pulse right now, Cardano's governance is being used, right? Cardano's July 2026 Van Rossum hard fork was approved, 77% DREP support, and 52% stake pool operator support, and 6 constitutional committee approvals. There's a lot of governance on Cardano. It became Cardano's first hard fork proposed, debated, ratified entirely through an on-chain governance structure. This gives us current evidence that Cardano's governance system is doing more than just existing on paper. Two ecosystems with surprisingly similar reported TVL. At the time of preparing this stream, PulseChain had approximately 67 million in reported DeFi TVL, and Cardano, believe it or not, had approximately 67.7 million in reported DeFi TVL. That is so close that it's kind of wild. Now, the difference is PulseChain had approximately 8 million in 24-hour DEX volume, where Cardano only had 2.1 million in 24-hour DEX volume. Now, it's a 24-hour snapshot, right? But it would insinuate that PulseChain has got more DEX actual volume. Now, PulseX represented approximately 50 million, roughly 3/4 of the PulseChain reported TVL. These are changing snapshots, right? Changing numbers, and the aggregators can omit or classify protocols differently. Nevertheless, they demonstrate why market capitalization alone cannot measure an ecosystem. Total value locked, volume, stablecoin liquidity, user protocol, diversity, and centralization, concentration, tell different parts of the story. The quote of the day: the first principle is that you must not fool yourself, because you are the easiest person to fool. I just love that quote. And I feel like people don't pay a lot of attention to the quote of the day, so sometimes I bring them back just because they're so good. Gig Gaming. Struggle Heart in the building. Welcome in, Struggle Heart. So the greatest danger in a founder-led community is not necessarily that the founder fools everybody, right? It's that the supporters and the critics begin filtering every fact that they hear through the conclusion that they already want. And then they create an echo chamber. But what you may not know is that Charles Hoskinson cannot personally approve a Cardano protocol change. It's decentralized. Cardano divides formal governance responsibility among DREPs, stake pool operators, and constitutional committee. Different decisions require different combinations of approval. There is a lot, and I mean a lot, of thought behind the governance in Cardano. I will certainly give the project that. So Cardano's updated constitution received 79% support, and it took effect in January 2026. It added stricter transparency standards for governance and treasury proposals. If you love crypto, then you love this information. Smash the like button. We get into some real sauce here. Formal voting does not guarantee perfect decentralization. Cardano's own community is actively examining voting power concentration, participation, institutional DREPs, and voter accountability. While PulseChain official execution software was forked from Go Ethereum, while its consensus client was forked from Prism, which is Prysm. That reveals an intentional strategy here, though. Begin with a proven Ethereum-compatible structure instead of developing an entirely new technical stack. Again, PulseChain, EVM-compatible, meaning same code and language as EVM as far as I know, where Cardano has its own code, has its own coding language. So an immutable HEX contract does not mean the entire Richard Heart ecosystem is immutable, though. And if you know what immutability means, it just means cannot be changed. I talk about the word interoperability a lot as like a word that people will read and get scared and then not really just look it up, when all it means is things working together. Immutable is another one, right? It means to not be duplicatable, to not be able to make extras or multiple of the same thing. PulseChain clients, validators, bridges, websites, interfaces, and surrounding applications still development and coordination, still require development and coordination, that is. And we're talking about PulseChain here. A blockchain can be technically decentralized while remaining socially founder-centered. Validators may operate the network, but the founders can still denominate its narrative, priorities, and public legitimacy. So, of course, like we've said many times, the network can still run without the founders constantly hitting a button and making things work on their computer, right, on their laptop at home. But that doesn't mean that they don't carry a super heavy influence over the project to the point where it can really matter socially. Let's drop into the 1 hour here. You see the 200-day moving average for the 1 hour. I mean, the first thing I kind of see here is the shoulder, head, shoulder. What do you guys think? Would you classify this as a shoulder, head, and shoulder? Are we going to get back above that 200-day moving average? All of it is yet to be seen. Let's get over to the crypto bubbles, right? Because that's what we really need to do to kick off this stream. And what do the crypto bubbles say? What is going on in the market? If you're just rolling in, smash that like button for me. We're just kicking off the stream. Going to be talking about Cardano, Charles, founder of Cardano, and of course Richard Hart, founder of HEX. So BTW has been kind of crushing it here, 24% in the last day and 331%, if you want to be really specific, in the month. And it looks pretty good. Let's go to the month. Look at that. That is a nice run. A little bit of, consolidation there before continuing to run. And it's the biggest bubble in the top 100. Let's do our 1 through 1,000 drop down here. Looks like category 100 to 200 is up 1.3%. And then 4 to 500 is down 1.3%. And the biggest loser, 8 to 900, is down 1.7%. But let's go through and actually take a look at some of these projects. XMR up 5%. Virtuals up 11.2%. Shout out Kindra, who has been building. We love DeFi gaming on this channel. So Kindra is definitely on my radar and everything that they're saying on social media. We have Mantle up 6%. Let's drop down another 100. We could roll through these pretty quickly. APR has been crushing it. I know the Lifer put out some calls for this, and his people put out calls for this. So hopefully my fellow Lifers are in his paid Discord. If you don't know who the Lifer is, Crypto Lifer, definitely look him up on YouTube. 161% on the day. And 178 on the week. So most of this move for a priory is a prairie. A priori? I don't know how you're supposed to say it. I don't even know if it matters. Sometimes you can just call it by the ticker. APR. And it is up quite a bit today. Velvet has been coming back with a vengeance. Velvet, very volatile. It moves up good and then it moves down quick as well. Sisic. Think of resources for AI and computational power. Up 44% today, and it's been doing really well too. Let's go to the month. Look at this thing on the month. It just took off. August 3rd, this thing was still 28 cents, and now it is $1.64. Hollow, probably the biggest loser in the top 100 to 200 here, down 21%. And let's drop down another 100. We usually only do the top 300 here. We have BR, or Bedrock token, which always seems to pop up on the radar randomly. Got some more Dexter token. I love the app for token tracking. And he says Dext token. DEXT. Okay. I would gladly take a look at that. Let's take a look at that real quick. Dex tools. Okay. The reason why at first I thought you were talking about Dexter AI. I want to say I bought some of this, but I might have never hit the trigger on this thing. Where are we at? This thing was really kind of popular around the whole AI agent. It is Pump.Fun ecosystem, which makes it a little bit hard to know if it's a serious project. Probably not. And let's finish up where we were here. So Bedrock token is up 75%. And SpaceXB, a tokenization of SpaceX, up 10%. Talus up 20%. And Talus down 20%. Sorry for that misspeak there. Somebody got excited. KDO down 29.4%. And DOS, which we've been looking at, down 12%. Let's do the price rundown as we always do, but first let's take a look at the overall market cap. 2.26 trillion, 0.4% down to the downside. Not really a huge move. I'm not overly concerned at this moment. How you're viewing the market, how you're living in the market, how your portfolio is structured, when you got in, all of these things, highly important for how you feel. You know, are you very emotionally led? Are you very emotionally swinging with Bitcoin up, Bitcoin down? Bitcoin goes up $2,000, you're having a good day. It goes down $5,000, you're having a terrible day. In my opinion, don't take it the wrong way, I think that's a sign that you haven't been in the market very long. And there's multiple reasons for that. One that a lot of people don't talk about enough is that I'm numb to price action. But I also got in some of my bigger holdings, like last bear market, so I'm not stressing it. Did they mess me up as far as my timing of when I wanted to take profits? Absolutely they did. And they're going to do it again. And hopefully I'm going to do a better job of selling, because they always mess with the timeline, whatever the public sentiment is, in my opinion, of when the bear market's going to be and when the bull market's going to be, tops and bottoms. If you're not actually paying attention to charts, you're probably not going to nail it. All right, Bitcoin, 63,523. And that's why you need to raise your crypto IQ here at Underground Crypto. That's where I was going. So BTC, $63,523. Ethereum, $1,880. We got BNB, $610. XRP flat at $1. I've been saying over and over, I love that it's been holding $1 pretty well every day. And there it is, make or break. Although I don't believe personally that we've seen the bottom of this market quite yet. But don't misunderstand me. I'm also not saying that I think that the bottom of this market is going to be drastically lower, like 40K or something like that. But I think we'll at least come back to maybe double bottom or test that previous low for Bitcoin, right? Because it runs the market. Tron coin, 33 cents. Hyperliquid, $56.39. This thing has come down quite a bit if you really were interested in getting into Hyperliquid. Low risk, but also low return because of its market cap, 12.5 billion. So in order for this to double, it needs another 12.5 billion. Now, don't get me wrong, there's a dynamic here, because at first you're going to say 12.5, that's a lot of money. I don't even know why I would buy this. I'd be lucky if it even doubled. Well, these bigger, safer plays that have a lot more institutional traction, they have a lot more big money traction because of how safe they are, for one, but also Hyperliquid specifically because how much money it generates in revenue. Dogecoin, 7 cents, basically 0.069, very close to 7 cents. Zcash, $493, down 4.7. It's very interesting. Where XMR, another privacy coin, Monero, $349 is actually up 7.4%. So you just flip those around. You see it? Cardano just had a little bit of a tear up to 20 cents, and it is a part of the topic of the day. Even though we're really talking about the founder, you're still talking about Cardano. And that's at 18 cents, almost flat there. Chainlink, $8.65. XLM, 16 cents. Canton Network chilling just barely under 10 cents. I'm waiting for it to hit 8 cents, then I'm going to buy a bag. Struggle Heart. Oh, sorry, not Struggle Heart. I already said what's up to you. We looked at the Dex Tool token. I love the app for tracking. Hey, if you like a product, it can be a good reason to buy some. Struggle Heart, did you look at the tokenomics? And I don't know what they are. Good evening, everyone. Thank you. Welcome in. Welcome in. Kumar says, hello, sir. Sir, can BTC reach $200,000 in December 2026? All right, just for you, Kumar, because you keep coming back, we're going to do something real quick. The coin perspective. And we're going to do just a little bit of looking, right? We're going to do a little bit of digging here. Wow, I just got a notification. Apparently there's a meteor shower tonight with good visibility where I'm at. I'll probably be streaming, so who knows? Who knows? Let's go BTC. and BTC. There we go. And we want to change the price target to $200,000. So that would require a $4 trillion market cap. Again, this is where you have this proportion, because a lot of times your instinct is going to be to say, that's a lot of money. Like, that's just a lot of money to go from the overall market cap right now is only 2.2. So you're not even 50% there if you took, or you're about 50% there if you took all of crypto. We're just talking about Bitcoin. Bitcoin's market cap right now, I believe, 1.3 trillion. So you would relatively do a 3x. Not impossible, in my opinion, Kumar. I don't think this is impossible. I don't think this is out of question. I just want you to also think that here in America, we're very much in these markets. They've been taken over, definitely, by big money, smart money, institutions, hedge funds, banks. Like, they're in this, all right? And they're playing the same big money games, market games, that they played with everything else, with the stock market, with whatever, the currency, whatever. They're always playing games because it greatly favors them. And so, is it crazy to think that we could go to a 4 trillion market cap for BTC? Not at all. But that would be, they have to kind of give it the go-ahead. They have to allow it to run. Also, here's another thing to think about. Is it going to, because there's two scenarios here. Bitcoin goes to 4 trillion in market cap because $4 trillion worth of money comes in, or BTC goes to $4 trillion worth of market cap because inflation goes crazy. Those are the same thing on paper, but they're not the same thing, right? $4 trillion in a market cap is $4 trillion in a market cap, but if all the money is losing value, the numbers go up with the value not really going up. I know you understand some inflation, I'm sure, that goes on all over the world. Well, I know it goes on all over the world. Anyways, I just wanted to take a minute to actually do that because you keep coming to the stream, and I'm here for my people. We are a crypto family. If you want to be part of something a little bit more close-knit than just some big influencer who's been propped up, a lot of, I don't want to say it, but there's one person in crypto who I know for a fact is not inflating his own numbers on his channel. And that's the Crypto Lifer. A lot of other people I have seen go from 5,000 subs to 60, 70,000 subs literally overnight. Which tells me what? They bought those subs. Anyways, I just want to say, a lot of the people, you're like, oh, they have 1 million followers. That's why I watch them. Do they really have 1 million followers? Here's how you can tell. Why am I saying this? Because a lot of people have a lot of followers or subscribers, and then they do live streams and they shill stuff on you. If you want to be a close-knit community here where we work together, I kind of lead the pack, but we're all about researching and facts. We're not here to shill nothing, all right? At certain points, I might have something to sell. You might choose to buy it, but it won't be a coin. Like, I'm not going to be shilling you a meme coin to buy that I own. We're not going to do that. But my point is, I might be small as far as subscribers. It's because I don't buy subscribers. Obviously, I could buy subscribers and have way more subscribers, and I'd probably make a lot more money. If I wanted to do this for money, I'd probably choose YouTube, a different category. Anyways, enough about me. I just wanted to say all that. I appreciate everybody who's here. Kumar says, thank you, sir. Absolutely, feel free. Kind of my point where I was going with that, I got off track, was that because we're small and close-knit, it's a good community, in my opinion, to be a part of. I tried to build the community I wish that I could find. Also, it's really good to ask questions and be involved here because you get way more attention, way more value than you're going to get at one of those big channels. You can comment all day, and most of those big channels, they're not going to do anything for you because most of them don't really love crypto. I've had the luxury of meeting a lot of people in crypto. I'm not going to name any names or say anything about anybody. I've been around quite a few people who you would definitely know in crypto. And I just, a lot of them are not real crypto people. And I I want to name names so bad, but they're really not. In their day-to-day life, before they did their channels and things for money and monetize, they were not crypto people. Some of them don't even hold. Some of them don't even hold any crypto in any portfolio, and I'm like, that's a weird thing to learn about somebody who you know is well known in the crypto influencer, space. And just for everybody to be 1000% clear, not talking about the lifer. He is not included in any of that. The lifer is the truth, and he is very legitimate. I've had the luxury of seeing all of that firsthand. So anyways, Toncoin, Graham, $1.35. We need to move on from that. H-bar at about 0.066, so 6 cents, 6.5 cents. Sweet is 68 cents. Avalanche, $6.36. Let's see, what else? MemeCore at $1.10. MemeCore is just kind of refusing to fall down. I feel like somebody had a huge stake of this thing, and they sold at one point, and that's been that. And not a lot of people have been selling. I was really expecting it to fall down, bounce, and then just get crushed, like be at like 10 cents, 8 cents right now. And it's held $1.10. I got in at like $1.13. So I don't know. I'm not too mad about that. That's holding up better than expected. And of course, you're absolutely welcome, Kumar. Welcome in, Chris Goss 333, my fellow lifer. If everybody could smash that like button for me. So we're gonna introduce the topic of the day real quick because I don't want to bury it too far. I'm always tempted to put all of the research information right at the front of the stream. Now, of course, it's a Wednesday night. I'm actually genuinely impressed with how many people are here. I thought a lot of people would be involved with the eclipse. There's meteor showers in different places, stuff like that. And of course, BTC kind of falling down a little bit, right? But I don't care. I'm going to raise my crypto IQ because I have an obligation to myself, and holding myself accountable is a big part of why I started this stream and committed myself to doing it 6 days a week. We used to do it 7 days a week. My other business just really became quite demanding. That's what pays the bills, right? Not crypto. YouTube, anyway. Anyways, the problem here. So, crypto communities frequently confuse 4 separate ideas, and we want to break them down individually and make them easy for you to understand. The founder is influential. Check. The founder controls the code. Okay, maybe, maybe not. The founder controls the network. I don't think in either of these scenarios they control the network at all. And the community trusts the founder. Actually, I think that you have a little bit of a jadedness when it comes to that. I've seen a lot of Cardano people quite upset lately. So those statements are not interchangeable, right? Richard Hart may seem extraordinary social influencer without possessing a button that shuts down HEX whenever he wants to. He can't get, as far as we know, he can't get mad, Richard Hart, and just shut down HEX because he feels like people aren't paying attention to him, right? Where Charles Hoskinson may dominate Cardano discussions, of course, because he's his brainchild, right? Without being able to unilaterally pass a hard fork all by himself. He purposely gave up the centralization to have true decentralization. One of the things I really admire about Charles. I admire things about both of these people. If we only judge their personalities, we'll never find where the actual power lives. And we want to be better speculators in the market. Sometimes maybe we want to know things about, who we like and dislike, but I'm here for more than who I like and who I dislike. I'm here for understanding how things work, both technical, social, like every little level and category, right? So the shift is to move the comparison away from the charisma and map power across these 5 different categories. That would be code, capital, coordination, communication, and continuation, ability to continue. I don't know why I can't say that. You ever have a word you can't say? John 316 says, "Hi, I am stress-free with BTC. Smash the like button." Appreciate you saying that. And I'm glad that you're stress-free. That's a good way to live. Gig Gaming says you should look into a Tropa ecosystem within PulseChain. Okay. That's very interesting. If you're still around, you could certainly bring that up in the Underground Crypto Hangout part of the show. Right now, we're going to focus on the education, but there will certainly be a time and place for that. So these are the 5 things here that we're using to really buckle down and get facts in a straightforward, honest way of comparing without just trying to argue about who's, gets more engagement on social media. The power, where was I going with that? Then compare what requires the founder, what requires community approval, and what continues automatically. So what is required of the founder? What does he have power over? What does the community approval have power over? I mean, there's a lot of great things that we say about DAOs, decentralized autonomous organizations, right? But then we all saw what happened to Bonk. So they're not a perfect system. And all of this stuff is always evolving. And by the way, Gig Gaming, I appreciate you saying that and giving us some things to look at later on in the show. Stick around, stick around. So what continues automatically without anybody needing to hit buttons or basically be in power where they can turn things on and off is what we're really saying. The payoff here is that the viewer could identify whether a founder is a productive leader, a temporary coordinator, a permanent bottleneck, a marketing advantage, a systemic risk, or several of these simultaneously. The goal is to not find out if the founder with the most influence, right? The goal is to determine whether the ecosystem has effectively checks on that influence, right? So I don't know, if you're in the U.S. and you know what we call the checks and balances of our legislation and the way that our legislator, and the way that our government is set up. Well, that very much exists for things like Cardano. See, I think Charles realized he's gonna have to let the community run by itself and not try to be in charge of it forever, because for one, he's not going to live forever, and these things, their code, they have the ability to live on, I guess, infinitely, right? So when we come back, we're going to talk about separating the founder, the product, and the ecosystem, and then we're going to kind of cross-reference between Richard Hart and Charles, and of course Cardano and PulseChain. But let's talk about what is trending as we kind of keep a pulse on this market. Also, yes, I use ChatGPT. First of all, I use it to organize the topics and stuff like that, not just purely write them. And I go back and forth quite a bit to get what I want. That takes longer than you would think, right? But as far as the news, I let it mostly just do its thing. I just ask it what today's news is. We'll come back to that, but I would like to look at some news, right? But what's trending today? Just wanted to cue that so we have it ready. This DEUS, which is not a stable coin, surprisingly. I do remember when this came out. It does seem like it's another language, if you ask me. Ex Machina? I don't know. I always think of the word mannequin every time I look at it, and I know that's not what it says. Base blockchain, Solana, and PQ, which is a very interesting ecosystem. We've looked at PQ ecosystem and website a little bit. Interesting stuff over there. If anything, I'm a little bit surprised at how relevant they are. Let's do a quick little look over of the tokenomics. There's a billion max supply. And there is 350 million out, which would be 35% of supply. Oh, no, wait. That's the 24-hour trading volume. My apologies. 635 million in circulating supply out of a billion, which is 63% and some change. 17.4 million. But what the heck is this thing? Robotics. Let's go to their website. Decentralized access to humanoid robotics. Now, I do bring this up quite a bit because you have to do your own research. It's so easy to come in here see this cool website that somebody spent a little bit of time doing, and just be like, oh, this is exactly what they told me it is they're going to do. I think that the idea that they've presented to me is great. Therefore, I like this project. To me, that is some very flawed thinking, and I only know this from experience. Just because they prop up a website and they say something doesn't mean that they actually have the ability, are building what they say they're going to build, have built what they said they're going to build, or even have access to the players and the money to make this happen. I'm not specifically talking about this project, but this is a good example. It says, get early exposure to the world's leading robotics companies before they disrupt a $1 trillion business. Okay, getting exposure to robotic companies before they disrupt a $1 trillion industry is a great thing. Will this project, this one, this coin, buying this coin, will that give you actual exposure? That's something you would have to heavily research. DAO portfolio highlights. We got Aptropic, which is hilarious. Wording there. Is building Palau, an AI-powered humanoid robot designed for real-world work, right? Backed by $403 million. It's a bold bet on the future of labor. Now, we talk about everything crypto-related, decentralized network, agentic networks that might run these actual AI robots. If you're wondering how this relates to crypto, one, this project is on a blockchain, and the coin is on a blockchain. There's one, reason why it's crypto. The second would be because maybe the network that runs these robots. The first thing I want to say, building robots is insanely expensive, especially when you're not just mass producing them. You're actually trying to design and work out flaws and this, that, and the other. It becomes insanely expensive, right? Let's see. So do they have the capital to do that? Just because they have money. Here's another thing. Can we find out, do we have access to the information? I'm just trying to show you guys how to break this stuff down versus just reading something on a website and stopping there and then buying and just getting whooped, right? So the first thing I want to say is, do they have the treasury, the money to build these things and experiment and make that happen? Because if they don't, then they're never going to get to a working product. Do they already have a working product? They have competitors for sure. Tesla being one that comes to mind. Tesla has robots. China has robots. A lot of people already have these robots. Are they doing anything that's drastically different than they are? These are all food for thought before you buy something like that. Why am I spending the time on this project? It's a random project to me. I'm spending time on it because you will see many of these type of projects pop up. This one actually has like a physical robot, but you'll see many of them in many different categories, and you have to understand the nuances of the business model. And does the company possess the leadership, money, treasury ability to actually execute before you go throwing your money in it? So 1X technology. 1X is a developing Neo, an advanced AI-powered humanoid robot engineered to assist with household tasks and enhance daily living. So the idea is you have this robot. He's more geared towards going into warehouses and factories and just places of work. Could be a restaurant and working. Where this guy over here, Neo, he's more geared towards being in people's homes and doing the laundry and washing the dishes, right? We have agility robotics development, Digit, a safety-approved humanoid robot for commercial, logistic, and industrial automation. Maybe he's going to be your new Uber Eats driver and also delivery guy. Maybe he just walks and delivers it. I don't know. And then we have this Figure AI. Builds high dexterity, AI-powered humanoid robot designed for manufacturing and logistics, already deployed in BMW factories. Is that true? Is this thing already deployed? And now here's the question. Is this robot made by this company deployed in a BMW factory, or is a robot similar to it made by a totally different company developed and launched by BMW factories? because those are two totally different things. I'm just taking a minute to try to break all these down. I didn't realize I had so many different pictures of robots. I don't want to spend forever on it, but I do want to break down the thinking and how quickly them kind of saying something can take you straight to this is real and they're doing it when in fact they are not. Strategic exposure to the humanoid stack. Building exposure to key components across humanoid value chain, including hardware, intelligence, power, and development. The things that actually run this stuff is highly important, whether it's chips, whether it's resources, data protocols, you name it. Data oracles, I should say, blockchains, whatever it is. All of those things really all put together. Those are all different components, and you can invest at different levels depending on where you think all of this is going. And the bigger question is how quickly you think it's going, right? Are these robots going to run every restaurant, every store, every gas station, everything everywhere in like 5 years or 25 years or 50 years? That becomes the big question. I think aside from this actual project here, that was a great, teaching moment, a good learning moment there for you guys to see where you may have bought projects before and been like, how did this thing not go up in value? They had such a good idea. Maybe they didn't have anything built. There was one called Space not too long ago, right? They wanted to do decentralized internet. Well, in order to do decentralized internet, they needed to launch their own satellites into space, or they needed to rent satellite, computation or ability from people who already have satellites in space. Stupid expensive for a little crypto project, right? So you got to break these things down. I won't spend any more time on that. So here's what else is trending today. APR, we'll come back to that. Pudgy Penguins, Cashcat, the premier, the biggest, I should say. Meme coin on the Robinhood ecosystem. Lighter, Stonks, Broker, Pawns, BitTensor, Curve DAO, PQ, Uniswap, XRP, Thinking Cat, ticker, I like that. Gnosis back on the radar, and Avalanche. Just want to see what ecosystem. Okay, so the Robinhood memes are starting to really cook. I think me and Prime Minister need to touch base on this again, because they're actually starting to really do something. I see a lot of them running. Now, how many of them are being launched versus how many of them are actually getting the move, that I'm not so sure about. Melissa, are you here? I'm willing to bet you probably are here. All right. So Thinking Cat, meme coin on Robinhood. I don't buy at 24 million. I just think that's already way too high. Gnosis had something going on I really want to come back to, and I never did. But before that, let's talk about APR, because it is trending pretty hard, and I don't think it's actually going to stop. I think it's going to keep going. Well, that's according to how the market, continues to go. Anyways, 135 million here in the market cap for APR. It's at about 48 cents. Looks like the coin itself came out about October 22nd, 2025, not terribly long ago. Billion in max supply, outstanding supply, and circulating supply. So we talk about tokenomics a lot, and this is a good example in time to talk about the difference between circulating supply and outstanding supply. So a lot of times you won't have a number for outstanding supply. Sometimes that's because projects don't have an outstanding supply, but some do. And that's where you can get a little bit confused, because there's a huge difference here. The circulating supply of this project is 277 million out of a billion. That's not so bad. Saying that this market cap divided into the circulating supply, giving you the price per unit, it's not a bad tokenomics. But then you drastically jump to an outstanding supply of 767 million, and that kind of changes everything. So let's read you the description of what an outstanding supply is. You should understand a circulating supply. That is the coins that are considered circulating in a given project. But an outstanding supply is the amount of tokens that outstanding in the market could be circulated and tradable in public. They could be, or they could be planned to be circulated or traded sometime soon, but they're already minted. So what is the difference between the 1 billion tokens that are in the max supply, the circulating supply, and a normal project where we have no outstanding supply? Well, the coins that are not in the circulating supply, where are they? They're not minted yet. They literally do not exist yet for most projects. Remember, every project can be run differently. The outstanding supply is saying, hey, we can see on chain, because most of them are transparent. That's kind of the idea, unless it's literally a privacy coin. That's a different story. But most of them transparent, right? Blockchain. And we can see that these coins are minted, but we don't know where they are or if they're publicly traded or circulated. And that's where an outstanding supply comes from. Why does this matter? Well, here's a great example. This project itself is a awesome example of why this matters, because 277 million is so much lower than 767 million. So if all of these tokens and the outstanding supply that are already minted on chain were to come out into the circulation officially, even in batches, but let's just say all at one time, it would really affect the price. The price would drop like 25% from where it is right now. Probably more. I'm being kind of conservative here. But it could drop 30, 40, 50, 60% in like the snap of a finger. As soon as they're considered circulating, you're done. That doesn't mean most projects are that foolish. It doesn't mean most projects are going to do that, because that would be pretty dumb, because it would just cause a very harsh drop in their price, which is more likely to scare people away from investing in them, in their coin. And so it's not the best idea. But sometimes they do it. I don't know why. Some of them just don't think ahead very well. Or people running the ship are just taking the money and running. They don't care anyways, right? So excluding token supplies that are not planned for circulation or usage, used to better understand the current theoretical maximum valuation of a token. Why did I spend that much time on that? Because tokenization is highly important, or tokenomics, I should say, not tokenization, but tokenomics. And when you have this big outstanding supply looming over you, don't be surprised when it drops. And I hate to say it, there are bad actors in this space who will use a convenient narrative, a convenient news narrative, to run off with the money and have a great cover story. Whoops. All those coins came out and the price got destroyed and the project wound up getting destroyed and going to zero. Don't pay attention to how many coins I was selling the whole time. You get my point? So sometimes they make terrible mistakes on purpose. Ethereum, BNB, and Monad. I have a lot on that I'd actually like to say. I am going to spend a second to say this, because think about this. You start, theoretically, I'm not accusing anybody, right? Just theoretically, this is an idea. Start an exchange, hold a ton of money of customer valuation. Now, this company is just one of many companies that you own because you're a big hedge fund, big multi, million, billion, trillionaire, whatever, right? You got many other companies. Then mess it all up, go bankrupt. Not your coins, not your keys, not your crypto. My exchange holds all of your crypto, everybody's crypto, millions and millions of billions of dollars. And then we time it perfect so that the valuation of how much money you had is like the bottom of the bear market type vibe. And then, so I already have all of the crypto evaluated at the time of bankruptcy super low compared to what they are. And then on top of that, I'm going to turn around and only pay 50, 60% of what that's worth out to the people who claim it. And then I'm going to sell the actual crypto assets to another one of my companies for pennies on the dollar. effectively stealing all the crypto, buying it for absolutely nothing, and then we have another bull market and the stuff goes way up and people get insanely rich. Those are big corporate games. Is that what has happened in the past? I don't know. I'm not accusing anybody. Anyways, Gnosis. Let's talk about Gnosis. I went on a tangent there. It happens sometimes. Hey, what can I say? Gnosis is $103. It's $103 because it has great tokenomics. Notice no outstanding circulating supply. Only 3 million max supply. Circulating supply 2.6. I do use this project as an example quite a bit, but that's not why we're here to talk about Gnosis right now. Genoland. Their website, not exactly amazing. Let's refresh it in case maybe they've updated it. No, it looks pretty much the same. So this is in association with Gnosis, right? We're building Genoland, set to become the leading open source smart contract platform using Geno, an interpreted and fully deterministic variation of the Go programming language for succinct and composable smart contracts. There's a lot of technical jazz that if you haven't been raising your crypto IQ, that probably didn't make a lot of sense to you. Because I do this every day, I'm actually quite surprised how much sense that made to me. With transparent and timeless code, Geno.land is the next generation of smart contract platform, serving as the quote-unquote GitHub of the ecosystem. If you understand what GitHub is, Genoland will be the equivalent idea of GitHub, with probably their own idea and their own take on it. Of the ecosystem with realms built fully transparent, audible code that anyone can inspect and reuse. So that's kind of the idea of GitHub, is you can go to GitHub and grab a lot of things and just plug and play and use them even though you don't know how to code anything. A lot of people use GitHub for what we would consider to be AI agents. Get a Claude, get a Claude bot, get it running. There are nuances to it. It's not what you think it is. But you can go to GitHub and then get all kinds of different already pre-programmed agents, if you want to call it that. And then you can run them with just plug and play, copy and paste, and you don't really even know what they do, which can be problematic. But if you understand what GitHub is, this is a very interesting idea. Why does this matter? Well, because if this helps the overall project of Gnosis and the tokenomics of Gnosis are really good, then it could make money. That's the idea here. And so it requires a little bit more of a deep dive, a little bit more information. I really wanted to make a full video on this, but I almost would need to go watch a bunch of videos on the people who built it and things and just see really where they're going with this. And the big question, all of this tech is great. I love learning all about this, but I wouldn't buy Gnosis as a coin to hold unless I could understand how this is going to pump Gnosis, the actual token, right? If you have to buy Gnosis token to, I don't know, pay for some kind of code in their GitHub style app, well, there you go. Now you understand why money would flow into it. It's a no-brainer. It's got great tokenomics. Boom, let's go. If it doesn't have that dynamic, then I would still probably buy a little bit of Gnosis, but I probably wouldn't buy near as much. Another point here is that you kind of have to position yourself in understanding of where money is going to flow or could theoretically flow in the market to raise the value of a token or project or treasury or whatever, market cap, I mean, before it all happens, in order to really be the one who takes advantage of the big money that is out there. Let's talk about that fear and greed index. I know I got a lot of things to say. Every day I'm here, I got a lot of things to say. I guess that's why I have a channel on YouTube. Fear and greed index 29. I've started saying it a while back. It's just a number you keep in the back of your head that gives you an indication of a lot of things, but market sentiment, right? And it's not just is Bitcoin up or is Bitcoin down. That's not what the fear and greed index is really about. It's about sentiment in the market. Are people in heavy fear? The opposite of optimism, the opposite of believing that the market is going to go up. That is when all the really good prices to buy historically have always been. When the fear and greed index is high in greed or extreme greed, Well, it means people are greedy. They're taking profits, you know. Money is being made, and people are also euphoric and highly optimistic. That's a lot of times when people sell. This can be a great indicator of how to move in the market without having to worry about somebody telling you what to do. And historically, it's been very, very, very good to me. My mentor is the one who showed it to me. He uses it. It's been extremely good to him. He's been in the game a lot longer than me, so he's gotten to take advantage of it a lot more. Prime Minister, what's up? Hey, Prime Minister, I'm starting to see a lot of tokens get some high valuations on Robinhood. Should we consider paying a little bit more attention to Robinhood coins? Or is that not really worth it and it's a couple outliers that are getting a little bit of attention? Because we had another one, Thinking Cat went to 24 million, and it's a Robinhood coin. Every day I've been seeing like a different Robinhood coin go to over 10, 15, 20 million. Anyways, let's make this the top 20, not the top 10, and let's talk about some crypto rank tokens, right? Crypto rank is a lot more geared towards institutions and, seed rounds, funding rounds, ICOs, IDOs, stuff like that. But these can give us some great insight into what is being built for the market. He says, I seen that, bro. Pooch is at 400K, LOL. Oh, is it? Can Cash Cat please get a pump? Cash Kitten, let's go. I'm still in Cash Kitten. You're probably shaking your head at me so hard. I tell myself when I need the money, I will sell this and use it. I didn't really want to show off Cash Kitten. What I really wanted to look at was Pooch. Because I still do own some Pooch. Whoa, Pooch went to 600,000? I know you said it was at like 400, but it went to 600? I just can only hope that Cash Kitten gets picked up at some point. I just want to get out of it, honestly. For anybody who's just seeing this, we've been following some of these Robinhood memes when Robinhood first came out. I bought a little bit of Pooch, I bought a little bit of Cash Kitten, I bought a little bit of a couple things. It's all inspired by, of course, Cash Cat. When it ran, I was like, yo, we need to pay attention and look at these. And then, of course, all the actual launch pads just absolutely folded, and we took a step back from them. And now it seems like we have Pawns. Pawns, have you dug into Pawns, Prime Minister? It seems to be holding up. I mean, I haven't seen it, like, fumble and go under yet. Anyways, let's see what this does. Probably should check these things more often. I'm really interested. I'm not going to do it right now, but I'm really interested to go look at my wallet and see how much what I own is worth, because I legitimately don't remember when we bought it or when I bought it. But I mean, the previous all-time high was like 267,000. So I feel like I got into it way earlier than that, like 50,000 or something like that. So we'll keep watching it. This thing's probably going to go to million or a couple million. This could be a nice win. Found Pooch at 26K. That thing is still, it is. It's given me some kind of weird hopium for a Cash Cat, which I own way too much of. That was like the first coin that I bought before Pooch, and I overinvested for sure. Some of it was rookie mistake. Some of it was also like Robinhood memes were coming out. There weren't a lot of them. Cash Cat had just ran, and I was just like, this is that one moment where I need to like go hard on this coin. And of course, then all the launch pads just kind of folded up, destroyed all the momentum. I'm sure it was a complete mysterious accident, right? Like we were just talking about. I'm sure it didn't happen on purpose, and it just destroyed the momentum. and it kept the liquidity from leaving other platforms. Wink, wink, nod, nod. Robinhood just kind of sketchy since the chain is censored. I'm not keen to keeping money over there. They can get hacked easily. Well, that's a really good point, Prime Minister. If you're here, you're hearing this from a pro. They can get hacked easily. That's not a good vibe. I don't even like hearing that, but it is what it is. I'm not going to pretend like it's not. And eclipse, if people know that there's an eclipse today, thank you very much for calling me this morning. So I could sell out of it. Now, I wish I could say that I sold it at like 80K, but I didn't. But I woke up to free money. I had already made money on this coin. I had already sold it. I knew that the event was coming up. It was the 10th, right, going into the 11th. And I watched it all day, and then right at the end of the day, that thing dipped super hard. I think to like 7K or something like that, like way back here. Yeah. Nope, it was more than that. It was like way back here. Anyways, dipped to like 7K, and I was like, well, there's my entry that I wanted. Got in, woke up, had doubled my money, and just walked away. I think I sold it like, I don't know, 35, 38K or something like that. Could have sold it at 80, but, you know, money made. I'm not crying over that. Anyways, I wasn't planning on going into all that, but you showed up, so I had to go there. Because I already had some questions I was going to try to talk to you about. And it's much easier for me to do on stream to get my thoughts out. I just trust Solana more because I'm familiar with it, and lots of cool people are on Solana, but Robinhood got lots of sketchy people over there. That's very true. And then of course Robinhood is new and all that jazz, where like Solana is battle tested, right? All of the weaknesses in the Solana network. I mean, people have pried and poked at all of that already, and they're not stopping anytime soon, but it's probably pretty shored up any real vulnerabilities and flaws. Who knows how quickly Robinhood was thrown together, and, you know, how well its security, how tight its security is, right? Of course, just so everybody knows, shout out to Godel, another play that I'm very interested in. Put my money where my mouth is. I've been mining it. Can show you right here in my wallet. At one point I did sell a little bit of it, and I'm slowly grinding it back up, but I own 65, which I think is about $97 worth of Godel. Like, why is this not loading? There we go. Okay, why does it say no unrefined? That's got to be like some kind of glitch. I thought it was automatically unrefined. Why does it say I hold no unrefined Godel? I definitely hold like $100 worth of it for sure. Anyways, I won't spend too much time on that, but they must have changed that. Did have another question for you. I'm trying to remember what it was. A nice jackpot running. I think we should go ahead and we should do some mining. If you're familiar with the project Ore, then you know roughly what this is all about. Oh, look at that. Struggle Heart's trying to win the giveaway. I mean, we're not doing a giveaway right now, but he's going to win it. You know, by the way, Struggle Heart, I owe you $10 from the giveaway you won. Send me the coin you want, and then send me your wallet address. I will send it over ASAP. Just, you know, send it to me so I can do that. Hopefully you haven't already done that and I missed it or something, but I don't think you have. Let's see. Looks like Bach won. Did he win Rush? It's got to be. Wow. He has won Rush 3 times. See, how come? This is what I'm saying. This is why I don't know if I can participate in this, right? Somehow they just win. Obviously, they have a lot of money and they're probably spending a lot of shovels. But, like, look at it hit, like, so low. The one time I tried to seriously play, literally, the one time I tried to seriously play this, it went to 60 Sol. So I think I'm sticking to the mines and stacking my Godel for now. UG, stop rugging us, bro. Hey, I never rug nobody. I don't have a project. I can't rug nobody. And Struggleheart can get his money he won anytime he sends me the information. I can't send it to nowhere. Yeah, and Prime Minister's joking for anybody who doesn't understand. I know that, but, you know, hopefully everybody else knows that. You said that's the old Godel website. So what's the new one? All right. So what? Now I got to go find the new website. Hopefully it's updated. Godel.supply. Is this the right one? Start mining. I guess what? Their social media has the right one. They don't even have a Twitter. I guess we could just go search it on Twitter. They probably do have one. It's just not linked. It's not on Google App or Play Store. Okay. The new one is app on Seeker. Okay. Got you. Struggleheart says that feels like a threat. I'm confused. What is a threat? You're fine using legacy site, bro. They got an X. I'm sure they do. All right, moving on. Yeah, here they are. It's pretty sure. Yeah, I already follow them. So I can't even get the new one because it's an app. Got you. All right. Didn't mean to get so off track there. Let's hop back over to the education because I think it's an interesting topic. Who's ready for that? Melissa says, touch, grab, press, or smack that like button. It would be truly appreciated. And she is absolutely right. It would be truly appreciated. So first of all, we're talking about PulseX for a while now. We're switched to talking a little bit more in depth about Richard Heart because I don't think you can talk about HEX, PulseChain, PulseX. I don't think you could do that and not spend some time talking about Richard Heart. I mean, Camsta came in here the other day. He didn't even know who Richard Heart was. Of course, Cardano, Charles Hoskinson, I'm pretty sure he knows who that is. And we're comparing them, but we're not setting up like a UFC debut fight, okay? We're just trying to put facts about both of these founders in a nice comparison about the ways things can go in different founders and the different ways they can do things, all right? It's meant to be factual and educational. So every comparison tonight has 3 layers, right? The founder, product, and the ecosystem. Now, founder, what has Richard Heart or Charles Hoskinson personally said, funded, promoted, or prioritized? That would be directly connected to the founder. The product itself, what does HEX, PulseChain, PulseX, Cardano, or ADA actually do? What is the point of them? It's like when they try, you know, when they said, and he's done it publicly, he's done it on his website, you know, for HEX and stuff, that HEX is better than Bitcoin. But better at doing what? Because they weren't made to do the same thing. We learned all about that last night. Ecosystem. What have independent developers, validators, applications, users, and communities built around those products that they made? Whoa. Oh, that's hilarious. I get it. I get what Struggerheart's saying. He's like, you're going to get these tokens. You're going to go, hey, if you never want to claim the $10 that you won, that's fine. But I don't want people to say, hey, he never paid that guy. Like, he won. You get what I'm saying? It's almost better, Struggerheart, if I just pay you because you won. Because if you go unpaid, then people will say that you went unpaid, and I don't like that. It's bigger than just if you get the coins or not. But that's hilarious. You get these tokens, and you liked him. All right. So a founder's personality does not prove that the code is centralized. Good code also does not prove the surrounding ecosystem is independent. Richard Heart building philosophy, as far as we know. Richard Hart's approach can be summarized as this. Use established technology where possible. Don't reinvent the wheel. Change the economics and incentives because he believes that that's the more important factor. Launch products that are immediately usable. It's nice for the user. Keep the message direct and memorable. Good marketing. Build a community that sees itself as excluded by the mainstream crypto. That's actually a big part of the plan, I believe. Treat attention as necessary part of distribution. The strengths to this: fast path from idea to working product, immediate Ethereum virtual machine wallet and smart contract compatibility. Things work well from day one. A clear ecosystem identity, a strong community mobilization, products designed to reinforce one another. HEX, PulseChain, PulseX each have an easily explained purpose, right? Why they exist is easily explained. That's great. That is a little bit of the genius behind what they built. The trade-off: strong dependence on a public personality. Can't get away from that, although he has been quiet lately, and we are seeing kind of what it is when he's quiet. Aggressive claims can overpower technical discussions, right? Not having a really factual-based, clear discussion, and just being kind of aggressive echo chamber type, communities. It happens to all of them. It's not just HEX and PulseChain and stuff. It's XLM, it's XRP, it's Cardano, it's tribalism. We've talked about it for forever in crypto. Critics may dismiss the technology because of the marketing, right? Some people don't like the marketing, or some people don't like Charles, so the critics use that as ammunition. Supporters may interpret outside criticism as coordinated gatekeeping. That's the whole narrative that they're excluded from the crypto club. Broader upgrade and development coordination is less formally visible to ordinary holders. Now, Richard Hart's strategy is not merely technological. It is technological, economic, and psychological all at the same time. Charles Hoskinson is building philosophy, and you can see it. Look at his roadmap. Look at what his roadmap is called. Struggle Heart says, "I am never unpaid. You deliver quality content every day." That is a really stand-up, nice thing for you to say, Struggle Heart. I really appreciate you. Thank you for being here. That hit a little different because I know you mean it. So let me continue to deliver that content, right? Charles Hoskinson building philosophy. It's a trip, okay? First of all, I've loved philosophics and spent you could spend the rest of your life in philosophy. Don't get me wrong. There's no end to it. It's almost like numbers in a way, okay? You can always think about something from a new angle or a new perspective. My point here is, big fan of what Charles Hoskinson has done with his roadmap, the people, the depth in which if you looked at a lot of projects' roadmaps, go look at any random project's roadmap and then go look at Cardano's roadmap. You will see something totally different. It's very well thought out. And then look at the key figures. Look at how much thought was put into it. Look at why he chose this person to be the name of this upgrade and this part of the roadmap, and why and what's happening during that time to the blockchain. It's actually pretty deep. I'm almost wondering if AI wrote it itself, right? So anyways, his approach could be summarized as this. This is more about understanding the mind and the thinking process as far as what their actions have communicated between these two founders. So Charles is more begin with academic research, formally define the protocol, develop through stage eras and roadmaps, build governance institutions before removing founder organizations, prioritize correctness and long-term resilience, and attempt to turn community participation into a formal protocol authority. The strengths here: extensive technical documentation, formal governance architecture, looks great on paper, multiple organizations and stakeholder groups, great decentralization, clear procedures for protocol changes, a treasury that can fund development through governance, greater separation between founder opinion and protocol approval. He's not running every little bit of sentiment about Cardano. Now that can have its drawbacks, because if you're just in the coin for it to pump, right, Well, if Charles isn't doing lives, if he's not saying something that gets people going and stuff, it can hurt the price. The trade-off here is research and review can delay delivery. All right, we've seen that with Cardano plenty of times, and something that they get frustrated with. Charles has said many times that he is not concerned with the price of Cardano, which is a little bit disconnected from the people who own it, unfortunately, because a lot of them don't take the time to listen to what Charles says. I don't know why they're owning Cardano when they don't take the time to understand the person building it, because there's a gap. He says he doesn't care about the price. They are frustrated that the price doesn't go up. Well, he already told you, you're just not listening. He says, I care about building, remarkable technology with tons of thought put behind it that is going to live on into the future and serve like humanity for, as long as it possibly can before it becomes outdated. And trust me, when blockchain and AI becomes outdated, that's going to be a crazy time for humanity. It's going to be much farther in the future than you think. Anyways, the point here being, why are they in Cardano if they just want to see the price go up? They're not listening. They're not raising their crypto IQ. Anyways, governance structure can become very complicated, also slowing things down. Users may struggle to understand who is responsible for the slowness, whether it's in deployment or price go up. Committees can create bureaucracy without guaranteeing good decisions, right? Large voting block can still accumulate disproportionate power, so there is still a problem there with your power proportions as far as who can do things and who can't do things and how quickly. Expectation created by long-term roadmap can exceed actual adoption. You can create a bunch of really cool stuff, but if people don't adopt it because they've moved on to other flashier things, think attention economy, think how long is the average person's attention, you could build something amazing, and who knows, maybe like world governments and militaries will pick it up and use it. It could be highly instrumental without ever really mattering to retail. Hoskinson's attempt to replace founder authority with institution. The question is whether those institutions remain effective after the founder stops driving the conversation. Again, appearances, interviews, going live himself. That really helps to push things forward. All right, we're caught up on the chat. So forking proven technology versus building a new stack. There's a lot of arguments around this. I mean, forking a proven technology, you could say, is genius to use what we know already works. Ethereum. That would be forking. Where like Cardano just set off and built their own thing. It's more impressive, but it's a lot more complicated. For good and for bad. PulseChain took an existing Ethereum compatible foundation and modified it. That offers several advantages. Of course, Ethereum tools are very familiar to developers. Developers can transfer knowledge more easily and probably get their projects up and running immediately over in the ecosystem. What's the other one? Barachain is a good example of a very familiar idea. Very same idea. Wallets can connect using established standards. Smart contracts can adapt more quickly. Engineering does not restart from zero. But the trade-offs are as technical differentiations may be much smaller. Upstream Ethereum improvements must be evaluated and adapted. Client maintenance still requires experienced developers, and familiar architecture does not automatically create users or liquidity. Cardano built more distinct stack with its own accounting model, programming environment, consensus research, and governance process. That can produce stronger technical differentiations, right? But it also raises the cost of adoption. Developers must learn different tools with Cardano. Applications cannot simply be copied from Ethereum, right? They have to be recoded. Infrastructure must be built specifically for Cardano. Research progress does not automatically become market demand. Hart optimized for compatibility and speed. Hoskin optimized for differentiation and assurance. Two totally different things. That's why this is so much fun, because this research is not about pinning these two people against each other. It's about understanding ideas in multiple ways to do something and the reasons for doing it or not doing it, depending on what you want, right? If you were going to build a house, right, Here's a really good example. I'm going to use this example, and I'm totally making this up off the cuff, right? Two people got to build a house, right? One of those people is stranded in the woods, and he's got to build a house because he needs some kind of structure tonight. Okay, so he's probably going to build a very temporary structure as he works on building his house. So he is optimized for what? Speed and effectiveness. Can large predators like bears and wolves get in his structure and eat him? Okay, does the rain fall on his head? Does it drip through his roof? Those are important, but the speed in which he can deliver, how many nights he has to sleep out in the open next to a fire, is a big deal. Now you have another guy, he's building a house, right? But he already has a house. He's not in the middle of the woods. He's not in survival mode. He's building his dream house. He has money. He can build with whatever he wants. He has money for land. He has money for whatever kind of structure he wants. Roof. He has all the time and all the money in the world to build whatever he wants. Their houses are going to look very different, right? And then we take them after a couple of years, and we compare them and we say, well, this guy's house is far more thought out than this other guy's house. And we just totally don't even put any relevance to the situation in which they built the house. Okay. Of course, in this example, Hex is kind of the guy who's in the survival world. Okay. And Charles Hoskinson is very much the guy with the money and all the time in the world. But I hope you understand that, like, comparing those two people against each other is very senseless. Immutability does not end governance. Hex's immutable contract, either way, is one of the strongest arguments for its technical dependency from Richard Hart, because it's non-replicatable. If a contract has no administrative upgrade mechanism, Richard cannot simply rewrite its core economic rules anytime he feels like it. However, the larger user experience still depends on the underlying blockchain, wallet support, front ends, bridges, liquidity pools, things going on with Ethereum and their code, indexing services, block explorers, developer maintenance, and community coordination. This gives us a very important lesson here. Governance does not disappear when a contract becomes immutable. Governance moves to the systems surrounding the contract. Cardano makes governance explicit. Cardano's governance system uses three major bodies. Now we're understanding Cardano. D-reps. ADA holders delegate voting power to representatives who vote on governance proposals, same thing. I like this idea, and I only really recently had looked at the structure of Cardano's, governance. And I think this actually solves a little bit of a dilemma that a lot of other DAOs have, decentralized autonomous organization, aka a decision-making body made up of the people who are in the network, right? And it can be done by equal share, it can be done by how much of the coin they own, all of that kind of stuff, just like a stock traded company would be as far as voter rights. The problem here is that your average person is not paying attention to the forums. If you've ever gone to the forums, right, and I have, of different blockchains, they're like crickets most of the time. There's not a lot of people on there. It's not like social media, right, where everybody's commenting and say something. Maybe at the peak of bull markets it's busy, but for the most part it's not very busy. And there are votes and stuff that go on. Bonk is a great example. Bonk had not a lot of people, if anybody, paying any attention to their DAO. So somebody bought a ton of coins, so they had enough voting right to basically force whatever they wanted through, just like you would do in a publicly traded stock company. Buy 90% of the stock and you can tell the company what they're going to do because you own all the voting power. So they bought, I think it was 4 million worth of Bonk, That gave them enough to force something through. They put their own proposal up and forced it through. And their own proposal that they put on the Bonk DAO, Decentralized Autonomous Organization, the governance, said, you give us $20 million from the treasury, and also we fire everybody on the board and we take over. And it was a sophisticated Somali pirate takeover of the ship, right? I am the captain now. That will never get old. But anyways, this kind of solves that idea because the actual ADA holders, they delegate their voting power to representatives. Okay, this is starting to sound a lot like the U.S. government and many other governments for that matter. But they give their voting power to a representative who they trust, however that works, and then they vote on the proposals. So here are the other people who are governance system, right? Has three major bodies. Stake pool operators. They maintain the network and the vote on certain security sensitive decisions, including hard forks. To who it concerns is where things go for vote. I like that. Constitutional Committee. It determines whether proposals comply with Cardano's constitution. Cardano's has a constitution. You can see how much time, energy, and thought has gone into this and how it's very much set up like a government. The system supports governance auctions covering hard forks, protocol parameters, treasury withdrawals, constitutional changes, committee changes, no confidence motions, and non-binding information actions. No single body approves every type of action. That is a deliberate system of checks and balances. What does this remind you of? And where is this going? What is his vision? Is one day government's going to run basically as a decentralized autonomous organization? It's going to be very hard to get those old entrenched interests to let go of the reins and allow that to happen. I'm don't want to instigate anything, not that I have the following, but it would probably take like a revolution of proportion to how we got our government in the United States, quote unquote, to get something like this to even work on that level, although I think it would function very well. Anyways, my point here is this very much looks like the modeling of the United States government. So formal governance has its own risk. Cardano's model creates accountability, but it cannot eliminate politics. Political weakness includes. Now, remember, we did entire series on decentralized autonomous organizations, or you would know them as DAOs, right? And we explained a lot of things about them. You know, who's really in control, who really has the power. When people, it's so much like the United States government, it's really weird. When people don't show up, because it's governance, I guess, when people don't show up and vote, it changes the structure. Their votes aren't heard, their voice doesn't matter, and other people get to decide what's going to happen. And that's a problem. Look at Bonk. So low voter participation. Delegation becoming concentrated. Voters following personalities instead of proposals. Large institutions accumulate voting influence. Technical proposal becoming popularity contests. Committee fatigue. Slow decision making. And responsibility becoming difficult to assign. Also, they forgot bribery, being bought and paid for. Blackmail, threats. Like, if you are one of Cardano's, delegate representatives, right, who large people, so you're real cool, right, and you go on whatever you go on social media, the DAO, and you get people to put all their voting power to you, so you basically get to decide what's going on, and then somebody comes along and finds a way to make you do what they want to do. Well, they effectively own everything, and that's a problem. It's the exact same problem with almost all governments today, right? Doesn't change. It's funny how governance is governance no matter where it is. Cardano is openly discussing these challenges, including voting power concentration and whether governance roles have sufficient accountability and incentives. A vote creates legitimacy only when participation, information, and competition are healthy, and it can get unhealthy real fast. Take money or death threats or whatever it is, and it can change what somebody does. Informal governance is still governance. PulseChain does not represent the same Cardano-style constitutional voting system to ordinary holders. That does not automatically mean one person can do anything he wants, right? Protocol changes still require developers to publish software, validators to install that software, infrastructure providers to support it, applications to remain compatible, exchanges to bridge to recognize the resulting network, and users to assign economic value to it. If participants reject new software, they can remain on older rules or support a different fork without a transparent voting process. It can be harder to see when proposals change, when coordinates agree, and how dissent is measured. Disagreement, right? So Cardano makes governance visible and procedural. PulseChain relies more heavily on software coordination, validators, infrastructure, and community consensus. Who do you think has the better model? I can see flaws in both of those models. The two community cultures. So we're going to talk about the cultures of the two communities. But we're going to break it up a little bit. Let's go look at top gainers, top losers, and stuff like that, because it's a lot of heavy stuff. Not as heavy as some weeks have been. I think it's a little more lighthearted because we're at least talking about people and not just things, although we're talking about both. Let's refresh this here. Top gainer of the day is APR. Coin right this second is up 174%. That's a nice top gainer for the day on a day like today. You got Velvet 20%, Virtual Protocol 9%, OKB 6%. But let's see who the top loser is. 00, Arbitrum and Optimism, and Trump Coin, official Trump Coin. 7.9%, 00, Arbitrum 7%, and Optimism 6.9%. Let's go to analytics. It's taking a minute to load, but it's going. There we go. Crypto ETFs. Let's get the zoom. Let's make it big. And then let's make sure we're looking at the right days here. So a lot of outflows today. Overall negative 134 million. BTC, of course, always the majority of the money, whether it's inflow or outflow. But look, we just went off of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days of overall inflows. And of course, BTC being the biggest. Looks like 127 million, 123 million, 252 million, 219 million, 182 million. But we had a really big outflow day here, pretty much proportional to this inflow day. So lately, if you just take like the last week, a lot more inflow than outflow. So that's good, and this is up to the 11th, which is yesterday. You're not going to have today's numbers till tomorrow. That's just how it works. Let's look at chain revenue. I love some data. I never thought I would love looking at a lot of this data until I started doing all this deep diving and research, and well, it really changed things. I'll tell you that. So who do you think is the top revenue for the most recent day they give us, which is probably the 11th, right? No, it's the 10th. Is that right? Huh. Okay, so they only give us to the 10th. It's Hyperliquid. I was pretty certain it would, but look at Tron come in, real second. A lot of people accuse the Tron network of existing purely to transfer USDT around regulation, right? Not through the traditional system. It's just a highway to move money. Tron USDT usually. It makes up a huge percentage of the USDT moved around globally. Is that true? Is that just claims from people who need them to do poorly or go under or, get out of their way? Could be. Could definitely be. But either way, Hyperliquid owns the game. Let's look at the as far as revenue. Last 30 days, Hyperliquid 33.7 million, Tron at 26.5. If you look at this is why this is good down here, is if you just kind of go day to day, you would kind of think that Tron and Hyperliquid are kind of neck and neck, but there are some very distinctful days where Hyperliquid dramatically outperforms Tron on whatever that day is for whatever reason. And when you kind of put it in a 30-day thing, Hyperliquid is much higher, right? 33.7 to its 26.5. That's a lot more money. Anyways, shout out if you love data. If you like looking at data and charts and bars and graphs and stuff like that, throw a 111 in the chat. Let's do chainers real quick before we even return. We're just going to hit the farm real quick. I'm just trying to break up the education for about 3, 4, 5 minutes. Give your brain a reset. Just like when you're eating good food in a fancy restaurant, they give you stuff to cleanse your palate. This is the cleansing of your brain palate. That's what we're doing here. I like that. We're gonna cleanse the brain palate. I'll probably start saying that daily, and like nobody will have any idea what I'm talking about. That's okay. Grab everything real quick here. Wonder how long it's going to take me to have enough resources to combine my 2 epic plots into a legendary plot. It could be a very long time. And let's go to the city map real quick. Grab our daily rewards. Shout out to chainers. Shout out to the people who come to the stream every day. It's Wednesday. And we got great viewership tonight for a Wednesday. I'm thoroughly impressed here. And we'll grab our thing here. We'll pretty much do everything but play the game for the free reward. We'll finish up our talking points first. And we're almost through the talking points. The research. It's my favorite part of the show. I mean, the news and the what's going on and what's trending in the market's highly important, but it changes day to day. The stuff that we learn here, it stays relevant for extremely long periods of time, if not forever. Like how a blockchain works, not changing anytime soon. What is consensus? What does proof of work do? What does the word immutability mean? They're not changing anytime soon. So the 2 community cultures. So let's talk about culture around the communities, right? And that's going to be very influenced by a founder. So Richard Hart ecosystem. Common characteristics include high loyalty, strong founder identification, aggressive defense against criticism, emphasis on self-custody, suspicion of centralized exchanges and ranking platforms, right? A shared belief that the ecosystem is unfairly excluded. And everything that we've learned so far, I kind of have to wonder how much of that is on purpose. Is that on purpose? Because the way that they have their wallets set up for PulseChain and stuff make it very confusing for CoinGecko, CoinMarketCap, CryptoRank and stuff to give like a price per coin. And I understand that because we talk about tokenomics so much. Why don't they just fix that? Like, they could just fix it. I don't understand. Yo, this person's hilarious. Says, hi, do you know waters above crypto? I think that's hilarious. I'm glad you have a sense of humor. I wish CCP was here. I'm sure you're a crypto hater. Well, hold on. Let me say, I'm not sure that you're a crypto hater, but that kind of thing kind of sounds like you don't like crypto, and that's fine. Go make your money in other places. I hope you do great. If you want to raise your crypto IQ and maybe understand kind of what you're talking about, well, you're in the right place. This is not your average crypto channel. Even if I had 100 million, I'd still eat Hot Pockets. Chickens are expensive to feed, says Stregaheart. Okay. Hey, in some countries they just eat mud pies, and I think dirt is very readily available, right? So I don't know, Stregaheart. Have you considered eating mud pies? I don't think that they're highly tasty. There was a bunch of XRP taken in a bridge attack. I hope they burn it. Is that why XRP has kind of dropped a little bit? Was it an XRPL bridge? We say it here over and over and over. Bridges are the main point of weakness. They are the main point of exploit. Why? Because they require a third party usually. What is the difference between an atomic swap and a bridge? That is some real crypto IQ raising sauce. When you want to move money between a network, is there an atomic swap that you can use? What is an atomic swap? See, oh man, I could go on a tangent. I'm not going to do it because I need to finish this, right? So the culture around Richard Hart and his ecosystem, right, creates powerful community cohesion. It can also make internal criticism more difficult. I love when people come in here and say crazy stuff. Oh, Maxime Roy. Actually, now that you say that, I'm pretty sure that I recognize your name. Hey, it happens. It's the internet. I don't always know what people are on. It's funny. It's always recognizable when you think somebody is saying something like, you know, snarky or something, and then they're not. But what's really, really hysterical is when you think somebody is being nice to you and they're not. It's even 10 times funnier. But anyways, I apologize, and I never want to offend anybody who's come to this channel, because if you love crypto, then you're good with me. So, bro, that's the guy's name. So above, I'll tell you one thing about me personally. I'm terrible with names in real life. I mean, I run service trade company and I don't know what anybody's name is. Most of my customers who I work for, I don't know what their name is. That's just how I'm built, but I'll recognize them in public 1000% of the time. My point is, I don't know if I know who he is. What does he do? Yo, I'm all in crypto. Well, that's good to hear. You're in good company then. Can I just call you Roy? Is that cool? Waters Above. I'm not sure who that is, but I can look them up. Let's do that. I'm sure they're on Twitter, right? I think it's interesting because I was spending a lot of time today kind of following a lot of people, mostly for Pump.Fun. Consensus investing, life synergy activation. All right. That, you know what? When you first said Waters Above, it reminded me of somebody who used to be on YouTube. I'm sure they're still on YouTube, called Infinite Waters. Infinite Waters, running deep. That guy. That's what it reminded me of. And it almost seems like the same thing. And that Infinite Waters guy, if you know who I'm talking about on YouTube, when you watch his videos, look in his eyes. He's weird, bro. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. I've watched a lot of his stuff. Not my thing. I usually love a lot of this type of stuff. Red Pill podcasts. I love listening to people's theories about things that are, you know, different than most people. I see that he's talking about Clarity Act getting delayed. They just took a recess. It's a scheduled vacation. Waters Above app. I don't know if this is Infinite Waters. I have no idea, but I'll give it a follow. I don't know who it is. What do you like about them? You just kind of like their daily posts? Let's read one of these. Can you see it now? They made you feel better about yourself for taking the red pill. But what you really needed was the clear pill. And here it is. And you click there. And then that takes you to the next post and the next post or whatever. Actually, I think you're probably supposed to scroll through the chat. This is 7 out of 8 here, right? It looks like he's doing social media pretty well. Much better than I am on Twitter. My problem is, prior to running this YouTube channel and stuff, I really just did not like Twitter. It's changed a lot A lot. So I like it way better than I used to. But I didn't use it a lot back then. All right, well, thank you for giving me that. I followed him. Says, I have text. I hate text. Okay. I'm not sure exactly what you mean by that, but thank you for sharing this with me. I will take a look at it more as he posts stuff daily. I'm getting far more active over on X. I guess it took me a little while to warm up to X. I'm very familiar with Facebook and stuff like that. Yo, who heard that MySpace is doing like a formal relaunch? Trying to remember. A while ago, somebody bought MySpace. And I was like, oh, that's really interesting that they bought MySpace, right? I'm trying to remember who it was. It was somebody who was like a celebrity. It's somebody you would know. Is it Justin Timberlake? Somebody bought it, all right? Now, they could have sold it already again. I don't know. So anyways, we were comparing culture. We got off on a little bit of a tangent, but hey, it's fun when we do. So we talked about Richard Heart ecosystem. Let's talk about Cardano ecosystem. Common characteristics include academic and technical identity, long-form discussion, governance participation, multiple organization and factions, emphasis on mission and long-term development, greater comfort with the formal process. It's very interesting. This encourages pluralism, a word I'm sure you guys are using on the daily. It can also produce bureaucracy, fragmentation, and endless debates. It sounds like the right way to do stuff when you just say it out. Like if you were at a bar, right, and you're like, we're going to have our own government on blockchain. It sounds great, but you might wind up with all the problems that we already have with government. And how does that help us move forward globally if we just move all of our problems that we have with government to blockchain and then have it be a problem for another 1,000 years or something? That doesn't sound good to me, although it does sound like what'll probably happen. I can send you the Red Pill podcast. Feel free to. He has a Patreon and a Discord. All right. All of that's highly cool. I like a lot of that stuff. And feel free. Feel free to send me whatever as I spill my drink on my computer. Luckily, there was nothing in it. Or next to nothing in it. Although I do need to wipe it up with something. Hold on. Well, it could have been a lot worse. Let's put it that way. I'm like paranoid about drinks around my computer. Because if I mess anything up, I'm not going to have the money to buy another computer right away. Not the computer that I need anyway. So I'm glad that wasn't too bad. But yeah, feel free to send me whatever. I'm a people person. I want to hear. I want to talk to you guys. It's nothing to me. Some people are weird about it. I don't know. Maybe they're not cut for social media and YouTube like I am. And I'm not even trying to brag. I just actually genuinely like people. It's amazing how many people, like I said, it's amazing how many people are crypto influencers who don't hold any actual crypto. Like they don't own crypto. They get paid a lot of money in USD into their bank account. They're living fantastically, shilling you coins, getting you to sign up for stuff, getting, trading, kickbacks and stuff like that. But they don't hold any crypto because they were never here for crypto. And whatever, to each their own. It's business. Business is business. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm not mad at none of those people. But also, it's kind of the same thing there. Struggle Heart says that's wild. All right, let me get through these talking points. Man, I could just sit here and talk. I don't even need this stuff to continue to talk. But this keeps me on point. If you wonder why we use ChatGPT, because man, I'd be all over the place if I didn't have this. Activity must be separated from the valuation of the project itself. When comparing ecosystems, do not begin and end with the token price. If you do that, you're very short-sighted. Track daily active addresses, transactions, DEX volume, stablecoin liquidity, bridge activity, application revenue, developer activity, number of independent maintainable clients, total value lock concentration, governance participation, and user retention trends. Now, with this long list, you might think, there's no way I'm going to go look at all of this stuff every day. Just copy and paste that list. Tell ChatGPT what network you want to look at those things on, and then every day just, hey, update me, and it'll give you a full update of it, and it'll be way better than you trying to do this by yourself every day. Trust me. It can be good to know how to get this information by yourself if there's ever like a problem or a discrepancy. You know, ChatGPT gives you a crazy number. You're like, I don't think that's the true total value lock, right? And then you go look, and maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Anyways, use what you have. If this seems intimidating, then break it down and use the tools that you have. It's just like if I gave you a screw or a couple hundred screws, and I was like, all right, you guys are going to build this deck. I already got it framed out. I just need you to put the boards on top. And then I handed you a hammer and like 500 screws and walked away. All right. You could sit there all day and try to put those screws in with a hammer because that's what I gave you. Or you could use your brain and go find a screwdriver, hopefully a power drill, and make it work yourself. See the difference? The current PulseChain and Cardano total value locked figures are surprisingly close, but their DEX volume, stablecoin footprint, application concentration, and market visibility, community structure are very different. Two equal total value locked numbers does not mean healthy equal ecosystems. All right. And it's just right this second at the time of recording that they're very similar. There probably won't be all that similar a month from now. Run the founder disappearance test. Basically to say, if the founder disappeared, what would happen? Ask what happens if Richard Hart and Charles Hoskinson stop communicating tomorrow. HEX, immutable contract, core contract, should continue executing its rules according to its rules, no problem. PulseChain validators can continue processing transactions, but future development, public messaging, and upgrade coordination would face a major test. Right here, they just told you where you would see the most problem. Cardano, the blockchain, stakes pool, DREP, everything that goes along with it, not to be even more long-winded. However, Charles's absence could still affect morale, development direction, media attention, and ecosystem coordination. It's almost like when you launch these things, you know eventually you gotta step away and let it run, but you almost can't do it until you absolutely have to. Cardano currently has more explicit institutional succession structure. The Hart ecosystem has particularly strong arguments for core contract continuity. I don't know why. Everybody knows. Everybody's had this happen, I'm sure. You hit a word and your brain just doesn't want to say it. Those are two different kinds of founder resistances, right? So what's the verdict? Richard Hart has a strong case for rapid execution and all the things we already covered, right? EVM compatibility, clear product positioning, community cohesion, immutable core HEX rules, and building an interconnected ecosystem around a unified identity. He's got that going for him. Where Charles has this going for him: formal protocol governance, documented checks and balances, institutional continuity, research and technical processes, transparent treasury decision making, and reducing a founder's ability to approve changes alone. The central weakness of each model. And I know we're long-winded. Maxim Roy says, are you still trading? So I am, but not probably in the way that you think. Right now, maybe you haven't been here in a while. I've been saying this for a couple of weeks, or probably like almost a month now. In this period of time, in the way the 4-year cycle is and stuff, which I believe is still intact, we just had a very wonky altcoin season, right? Anyways, I'm just focused on stacking long-term 4-year cycle, bear market bottom to bull market top style spot holdings. That's all I'm worried about. But I'm not trading perpetuals. I almost should and could do an entire stream on that, but I'm going to have a lot of hot takes, and I don't know where that's going to go. So we'll put that on pause. But I'm not actually a big fan of trading perpetuals. I haven't had a really great experience. I'm not just talking about getting liquidated. It's not what I'm just talking about. More the philosophical and the market makers and the trust and the you have a point, like, where you have a liquidation, and it's weird how it always just goes right to where all the liquidations are, right? And not just for you, for everybody. And then when you realize that there is somebody on the other side of it who can easily control where the market goes because they have a ton of money, right? And they can control a lot of different things, both on their platform and with their money. And it just seems like they could easily just take everybody's money. And then when you actually are involved in it, it seems like they do just take everybody's money. Okay, so very few people win there. I am far more interested in what I've been doing now, which is like Pump.Fund, meme, a lot of fast money, but a lot less risk as far as getting liquidated or just losing your money. I've how to say it? I've had better experience with making money over there than I have trading perpetuals. One, in the speed that it happens, right? Because sometimes trading perpetuals in markets is like watching paint dry. If you really lower your leverage and stuff, you barely make any money without. Here's one thing I will say: perpetuals can work really well when you have a lot of money, right? When you can put $10,000 in a portfolio and operate that with great rules. And I know a lot about perpetual trading, actually. I've studied it for a long time. I have had success with I just don't like it. It's boring to me. I would much rather be on Pump.Fund. And if you've been following me, you've seen that very much change. I used to stay away from Pump.Fund and that type of ecosystem. It exists in other places besides Pump.Fund. But I was very, very fortunate to have somebody who's an absolute pro at it really break down the strategy to me, and it just makes a lot of sense. Obviously, I'm still learning it. I've spent years and years and years learning perpetual trading, and like I still know what to do, and I could go over there and do it, but I find this highly entertaining, Pump.Fund, and there's just way more money. And with the strategy that I've been taught, it's just a no-brainer. So that's what I'm doing currently, right? And I really do look forward to bringing that to you guys more. But I'm kind of one of those people where it seems a little irresponsible for me to learn something for like a month and then just try to show you guys. Like, it might not work as well in every environment. I kind of believe if it works this well in a bear market, it works even better in a bull market. But I'm going to give it a little bit of time, make sure I really, really lock in a lot of stuff. I get better each day at understanding the game. And I would like to bring that to the community. I have people in mind that, out of respect for the person who's been teaching me all this stuff, I'm not trying to like, oh, let's bring this person in. Oh, let's bring that person in. But people like Camsta. You know, I've watched Camsta trade and struggle sometimes. And maybe he has a bunch of wins I don't even know about. I know he's up on his Hyperliquid trade. And you're going to hit a good one every once in a while. But how much money, has Camsta actually made versus actually lost? I think he would benefit greatly from what we're doing. But that's for another day, and I'll wait until I know what I'm doing very well, and then I can show whoever I feel worthy myself, right? Just like I was fortunate enough to have somebody show me. Very long-winded answer to somebody just saying, are you still trading? But I really wanted to lay that out because I was thinking about it yesterday, and I was like, I kind of need to figure out how I'm going to introduce that to everybody, because I'm going to start probably doing that a lot more in the members only live streams, in the hangout, stuff like that. But it comes with its rules. Like, it moves really fast. Like, it moves super fast. If you're tired of watching paint dry with perpetuals and Bitcoin, this is the answer, but it might move too fast for you at first, so you need some practice. Anyways, I keep getting so disrupted that I worry that maybe you have a little bit of trouble following along here. The central weakness of each model. We're talking about, the models and ecosystem of both HEX and Cardano. For Richard Hart and his ecosystem, it proves that growth, development, and legitimacy can become less dependent on Richard Hart. Cardano must prove that elaborate governance and engineering can translate to faster adoption, greater usage, and better decisions. They both have something that they really need to prove, and they're almost in contrast. So, final conclusion, if better means faster, then Richard Hart wins. All right? If better means formal, institutional distribution and stuff like that, then Cardano kind of wins. It depends on who you are and what you think. And you know it's really interesting to draw this conclusion. That's the wrap up of what we're talking about, but it kind of goes to the whole trading perpetuals or trading like pump.fun, right? Both can be fast money depending on where you are and what you're doing and what your strategy is and the way that you execute and the way that you get ahead of the game to be positioned before everything moves, which no matter which one of those you're in, being ahead of the game in position before everybody else realizes what's going on is the name of the game, right? And so it's kind of actually funny how similar those dynamics are. Anyways, we went over a lot of stuff today. I wasn't sure how this stream was going to go today just because I don't think I've ever done like a comparable between two founders or we've definitely done between two projects I think before, but not founders. And I did not want to seem like I was trying to pin those two people against each other by any means here. We do have the crypto Twitter doom scroll. Kindra is building, and I love to see that. Where's Virtuals? I kind of want to see that's for Yakamon. We stay on top of a lot of DeFi gaming. I love that. We have DeFi gaming every Friday. Never enough time. I wish I could do a DeFi gaming stream every day and be on top of that and have that be like a whole big main part of the channel every day, all the time. And you best believe when I can do crypto full time, I absolutely will do that. What am I looking for? I am looking for something and I don't even know what I'm looking for. I wasn't going to Kindra. Oh, I was going to virtual. Yep, that's what it was. I wanted to see the price of Kindra. Yeah, it hasn't really moved. And it's not a big deal. It is on Robinhood, right? It's like a Robinhood meme launched on virtuals, right? I bought a tiny bit of it. I do. Oh, wait, you got to flip them. Got about 51,000 Kindra. It's worth like, it's worth $9 now. It was worth $8. It's been as high as 15, I think. I just bought a little bit of stake of the coin while it's cheap, literally so I could use it in the game, which somehow I'm still just logged into. Wow. They've gotten way better. When I first started playing this, they would kick you out constantly if you were inactive, which they should still do. In my opinion, they should still do that. But anyways, I wonder how many players we have online right now. This is Kindra. They just launched some kart racing. I don't know where it's at. I know that I was definitely sent a screenshot of where it's at, and I still don't know where it's at because I never went and saw it. Daily devotions. That sounds sketch. All right. Let's hit our fortune wheel. This is Kindra. I just wanted to show it off for a second. DeFi Friday, we will be playing lots of games. I probably should start it a little earlier because there's so much stuff to go over every day. I was trying to see if I could quickly figure out where the racing is. Melissa, are you here? Struggle Heart, it's been a great stream. I appreciate you saying that and the kind things you said before. I love this stuff. So when you find people who genuinely like showing up, you know, it's YouTube. People are all around the world. My ability to like try to stay, and I've seen people do this, as weird as it is, try to stay on top of people, twist their arm, you know, kind of give them crap when they don't show up and stuff. That is so weird. I've been in a few communities like that, and it's very strange because it's like, yeah, You don't even know each other. So my point is that when people show up consistently just because they want to, it means I must be doing something right. Now we just got to get the news out to everybody else. So if you have any people in your life who love cryptocurrency, introduce them to the stream. I mean, they rather choose to keep coming back or they don't. That's up to them. I rather somehow can deliver perceivable value, something they perceive as valuable, or I guess I can't. Maybe I'll be lucky enough to get feedback as to what in the world I need to be doing. Because of course we want to grow on YouTube. It's funny, for a lot of people, they want to get rich off of YouTube and all this jazz. I just want to make enough money on YouTube by itself that I can just research crypto and live, breathe, sleep crypto every day. Which for me is not that much money, because, you know, I do own my own house and stuff like that, so I don't really pay rent. So I'm not drowned in. So we could make this happen, and I could 24/7 just be online for the most part, within reason. I don't see the cart thing. They must have put the cart thing through like one of these portals. Anyways, I wasn't trying to spend all the time on that. Roller coin, I play one of these like a day. I don't know, I'll take the small amounts of small crypto every day. Has anybody been maybe playing this project for years? I don't really get how or why they're giving you anything, because I don't see how you're doing anything valuable. That's why I do one of those a day. It takes 5 seconds to do, maybe 10. Let's go to mini games and get our free item for the day for Adam Caster. And Strugahart, did you have any more information about that XRP bridge attack? I'll be honest, I did pull the news. I am so tired today. Probably all the working out and exercise yesterday. I'm exhausted today. So if y'all will have some grace for me, I'm not going to do the news today. And a lot of times in the days where I don't do the news, that's why. Going back to talking, and I just talk kind of openly. I'm transparent with everybody. You know, when I get to the point where I can focus 100% on YouTube and nothing else, I'll do a daily news and kind of what's going on social media and stuff like that kind of post video. Sorry, I'm playing and thinking at the same time. I'll do a standalone video, and then I'll be basically streaming twice a day, which I would love to do. I wish this game would start a little faster. But after I beat this, which will be in about 3 minutes, I'm probably going to hop off. It has been a great stream. I hope you guys learned something as far as comparing what Charles has built and what I'm telling you, blanking here, the founder of HEX has built. I don't know why his name is not coming to my mind. I've said it probably 3,000 times tonight. But anyways, I hope you guys got something out of the stream. I don't know why I'm blanking. Like I said, guys, I'm really tired. I hope you guys watch the eclipse wherever that is. I've been seeing videos on social media. I hope it's over. I was in a coin about the eclipse, and I woke up this morning to somebody calling telling me it was pumping. And I sold it at like 35K. I'm not mad about that. It went to 80K. And I would have probably, I don't know, made double or more. That's all right. I didn't lose money. That's all that matters. And I had made money off of it twice. So I probably made 30-40 bucks off that coin. I'm happy with that. Especially when I'm still learning and I'm not going hard as far as putting a ton of money in there. Keep the losses small and the wins bigger. And we're way over our 1,000 points here. Could easily run this to 20, 30,000. Maybe one day on stream we'll do that. But it's not the most entertaining thing. So you know what it is. Stay underground. Stay crypto. Think long term. Keep raising that crypto IQ. And tomorrow I'll have another continuation in this series about HEX and Richard Hart. There it goes. I remembered his name. I don't know. Can't believe I couldn't remember his name for a second. What the heck? So I'll see everybody tomorrow. Underground Crypto out. Have a great night. Watch an eclipse if you can. And, you know, I'll see you in the Discord. Free link to the Discord in the chat. Later, everyone. Thanks for being here.